So now we've talked about mobility. We've talked about a warm-up and how to establish that. We've talked about strength training. Now let's talk about power training. Power is what we all want to do, right? We see this stuff on Instagram or on TV, right? We see these athletes throwing these medicine balls or taking these crazy jumps, jumping on boxes that are like 5 feet high, whatever. That's really cool. It's cool to see, and I would love to be an athlete that could do that. I just know myself, and I know I can't do a lot of that stuff. But one thing I can do is I can think about working on being strong first, so then I can become powerful. Because again, power is force times velocity. Force is strength. Velocity is what we're gonna work on now. That's the speed part. So the way I like to do that, again, if we're thinking about going downhill, right? And again, I'm totally, my type of skiing is steeps, trees, chutes. So I have to be skiing like this. This is the way I ski. From here, and the next thing I do, I'm gonna rotate from here straight to here. I'm basically having a jump turn a lot of times into chutes, or again, of course, I'm using my poles, pop, 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 and I'm linking those turns together, only moving from my lower half. So I've established my strength, and I've established my joints to be mobile enough to do that. So now I gotta establish my power to do it. So the one thing I like to do, whether you use a ski pole, you can use a dowel, just because it's a skier video, we're gonna use a pole. I'm gonna think about pressing or think about these as handlebars, just on my bike. I'm gonna press them straight out in front of me, elbows kind of soft, shoulders soft, and I'm gonna rotate my hips to the side now. So now I am I'm perpendicular to that fall line, because I don't want to put my ski straight down, because that's not gonna be fun at all. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna rotate. So now I'm looking down that fall line, and all I'm gonna do is keep this dowel or ski pole in front of me. I'm gonna rotate my hips to the other side. Back and forth. Again, thinking about turning my feet directly to the side every time. So how do we get there? Well, we gotta know how to jump first. Jumping is the number one thing to be able to do, right? So jumping is gonna start off nice and tall. You gotta be able to jump and land with your knees in line with your toes, basically in your ski path. So that's the start. So we start off with loading our hips, jumping, landing nice and soft. What I tell people, think about being a ninja. Try to be as quiet as you can, land softly, okay? It's not about that big thud. You may have seen other guys in the gyms jumping up on huge boxes and making this huge amount of noise. That's not the goal. We're not trying to stomp out a landing. We're trying to land nice and soft and control. Because all that force you hear is forces going up your body. We want to be absorbing the force. So number one, establish your landing. Number two, now we got to establish how do we sync up our hips to bring them forward. Again, that's extension to drive. So I'm going to go back. I like to do this loaded jump first. I'm going to sit into my ski position, dropping my hips back, knees coming forward. I'm just going to use my arms to help me. So my arms help bring my body forward, and I extended my hips and I squeeze my butt on top. So it's here, and I'm landing right back nice and soft. Here, nice and soft. So landing, extension. Now it's time to start making it fun. The next thing is to be a depth jump. Okay, I'm starting off with a small box, 6 inches. I don't want to go into this 48-inch box or anything and jump down, because that's way too much load on my knees, especially when I'm trying to teach the client how to do this. So again, same principles apply. Feet are right under me. My hips are going to go back. All I'm going to actually with this one, I'm going to step off and land and stick the landing. Hips back, feet hit even, pointing straight downhill. Try it again. So I'm gonna try the other foot now. I'm gonna step off. I'm gonna attack the ground. I'm into this nice position. Right? Same thing. Right down. So I'm learning on being able to control my landing. Again, we can add some height to this and make it even more forceful in a sense. I'll show you straight ahead so you kind of see my knees here. So I'm gonna step off and both hit the ground at the same time. My body's in good alignment to maintain control. So that's the depth jump. Now we got to work on rotational jumps. So before we separate shoulders and hips, we're going to keep shoulders and hips together first. We're going to start here. I'm just going to take a 90-degree jump to my right, up, and I'm going to land. So everything turned. My hips turned, my shoulders turned. Up, back to my left. to my right, to my left. Just landing nice and soft, always thinking about landing. That's number one, because typically knee injuries occur when this happens. So we don't want to see any knees collapsing here. We want to establish control from here to bring our knees out, just like the mini band work, right? That mini band comes right back to what we're doing here. So once we can establish keeping shoulders and hips together, now we got to separate shoulders and hips. This is where it becomes a little tricky, because now we need a tool, like a dowel or a ski pole. But I'm gonna, again, the same exercise that I demonstrated at first. So hands are in front, knees slightly soft, thinking about, again, hands out, right? Because if you've taken any ski instructions before, or if you've ever seen the little kids go, you see they're always skiing with no poles with their hands in front of them, because we want the hands out here. We don't want to be back here, because then we're in the back seat. So hands in front. All I'm gonna do is jump with my shoulders staying towards you, but I'm gonna turn my feet to the right. And that's it. So I just go right down to that position. Now I'm gonna go 180 degrees all the way to the other side. All the way over. Okay, that's kind of the advanced stuff. So now I'm gonna go from all the way left to 90 degrees. 90, 90. So I'm separating my hips from my shoulders by just working these 90-degree turns. Same thing to the right. Gets a little tiring, but that's how you start working on separation, because it's all about separating the core, or sorry, separating shoulders from your hips via the core. So we're gonna start working on power for the core now. So I hope that one helps you, because that's a big time thing I've been really working on a lot, and it's changed my whole skiing game up so much. It's been able to rotate my hips under me fast, so I can get that next turn to the next turn to the next turn. And then instead of just jump turning, now I'm starting to link turns in a steep face, which is so much fun to do.